Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And this is a good day for me, I have to tell you. So, I have been putting out content for years and years and years, telling you about what's been going on here in Florida with the Baker Act and the unscrupulous actors and the illegal and unlawful and unconstitutional Baker Acts, and how when you get a loved one who's been Baker Acted, and I know that because my loved one was Baker Acted, that you got to fight to get them out. And sometimes I feel like I have been sort of screaming into, I don't know, the abyss. But I finally have good news, because there is an article, and I'm going to put the link to it in this in the posting, from the New York Times. It came out on September the 1st, written by an amazing journalist called Jessica Silver-Greenberg. And thank you, Jessica. And it talks all about the abuses, not just here in Florida, but pretty much all over the country, with a specific company that owns these Baker Act facilities. It's called Acadia, Acadia, and it talks here about what's been happening in Florida. I think, and I'm just sort of gonna, just gonna pick out some pieces here for you, but I want you to sort of get the gist, and you can read this for yourself. But it's talking about, in one instance, we had a social worker who spent 6 days in a facility because she had gone in there just hoping to get her meds changed because they weren't working anymore, and Acadia, charged her insurance company $2,200 a day. Unbelievable. The article notes Acadia is at the forefront of a shift in how Americans receive mental health care. Yeah, you're damn right there at the forefront. So there was a couple other things. So here, this is crazy stuff. Acadia markets directly to potential customers, encouraging them to skip the ER. The company cultivates relationship with people like police officers and emergency responders in the hope they will bring patients to Acadia. Acadia also pitches itself to staff in hospital emergency rooms. Acadia has dispatched teams to overwhelm ERs to help them determine when patients need to be hospitalized. Here we go. Valerie McGinnis, who worked as an assessor for Acadia until 2019, said there was consistent pressure to send patients to Acadia facilities. A colleague, Gwyneth Shanks, said it felt deeply unethical. You're damn right it felt unethical, because it was. I think this is a Florida case. It says another patient was a retired city employee. In March of 2021, she was feeling depressed, went to her doctor's office to get a therapist recommendation. A nurse there provided her several options, including visiting Park Royal in Fort Myers, an Acadia facility near her home. She said an employee at Park Royal had told her that in order to get therapy, she had to sign herself in. Sound familiar? She arranged for her husband to pick her up that evening from the hospital, but when she tried to leave, they wouldn't let her go, and it took 6 days to get her out after she got a judge to order her released. So here, and it says it talks about the fact that this poor woman had to sign herself in. This is the voluntary admission agreement that I've been telling you guys about. When you sign a voluntary admission agreement, you are Baker Acted. There is 2 types of Baker Act here in Florida: involuntary and voluntary. And if you sign yourself in, or they forcibly detain you, you are still Baker Acted. Your liberty is still restrained, and you still cannot leave. The only big difference is that if it's involuntary, there's a 72-hour clock ticking. If it's voluntary, there's no clock ticking. You can be stuck for as long as they want to keep you without a court order and due process. But this is how they trick you. Okay, and look, I'm not necessarily pointing fingers at Acadia. This just happens to be an article about them. They're not the only ones doing this stuff. And, this is going on all over the place. They're talking about an Acadia hospital in Reading, Pennsylvania, Missouri, Georgia. This is going on all over the place. And again, it's not just Acadia. Here in Florida, I'm litigating against facilities all over the state of Florida, from Miami all the way up to Jacksonville, Pensacola, those areas. As far south as you can go, and as far north as you can go, and as far west and east as you go, all over the state of Florida. So, you can read this article for yourself. But this is why I have been sort of crowing for a long time. If your loved one gets Baker Acted, unless you're going to allow the state, and it is the state because Acadia's facilities are licensed agents of the state's mental health system, just like a police officer is a licensed agent of the state's criminal justice system. Oh, and by the way, the police are also agents of the state's mental health system because they can Baker Act you and they can arrest you. They can do both. If the state takes custody of you and you're not prepared to fight or you're not willing to fight for whatever reason, then you are going to have to deal with potentially with the consequences of the state railroading your loved one into the facility, keeping them there, and worst case scenario, potentially sending them to a state hospital. And if you don't think it can happen, I'm here to tell you it can happen, because I get those calls after the fact when when the facility decided to file, the family decided not to fight, and sometimes they find out after the fact that there was a hearing and the loved one's being detained for the next 6 months. So the time to fight is right now. The minute your loved one gets detained, you got to fight to get them out. Otherwise, there's a very high probability they're going to get stuck. If it's an unscrupulous facility, if they have great health insurance, and actually I think I talked about this the other day in the video, if there's some indication that they are of self-harm, taking too many pills is the biggie, right? I would say there's a great chance you're going to get stuck. So that's my 2 cents. I feel somewhat vindicated. Thank you, Jessica Silver-Greenberg, for really a phenomenal piece. It looks like a lot of research and homework went into that. So thank you for that. And I will keep posting about the Baker Act and the other work that we do, because this is my mission. And I'm here to fight these guys. And I'm here to kick their butts and take them into court and do what needs to be done to get you guys some justice. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.